Hi, I'm Brittany.
And I'm Amanda, here to help you authentically find balance in an imbalanced world.
And together, we are the Work Smart, Play Hard Gurus. Happy New Year! We've made it to 2025. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? Have you checked in with yourself lately?
You know, I have, and I have so much to share. How about you?
I have also been checking in with myself, looking at how I did last year.
Okay.
Trying to use that as a reference for how I want to frame my year this year and see myself make progress.
That is interesting. Okay, so what do you think about New Year's resolutions and goals and vision boards? What do you think about that?
Last year, I made a vision board.
Okay.
And I decided to stray away from writing New Year's goals. I didn't feel that New Year's resolutions and New Year's goals were working for me, so I came up with a word. I don't know if you've heard about it, but this has been the new thing that people have been doing, coming up with words.
Okay.
So last year, I chose a word, that word being consistency.
Okay.
I thought that it would help me with time management strategies and provide me with an opportunity to get more accomplished if I was more consistent with the way that I lived throughout the day.
Consistency. Okay. I think I too kind of adopted the word, I guess, the word train last year as well. I think my word was stewardship. Mm-hmm. And so it was stewardship over my finances, over my time, over different projects that I was working on. And I found myself kind of falling short in the area of still with time management and not allocating a lot of time to actually get the task done. And so for me, that's still an area of growth that I'll be bringing into 2025. Let's see.
I'd agree with you.
Okay.
I feel like my time management was my downfall.
Okay.
And my issue with time management is that I underpredict how long something is going to take. And then I also carry frustration when things take longer than they need to take. Sometimes more frustration when I make a phone call or I need to do something on the phone. I need to, call a doctor's office or I need to call somewhere about my internet bill or my phone bills if something changed. And I feel like I'm estimating and I'm underestimating, and I could be on the phone anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes. And I had a few of those issues last year where not just with phone calls, but in life where I thought, okay, if I sit down, I'm going to knock this out in 30 minutes. And I was an hour and 10 minutes in going, I didn't plan for this.
Okay. That brings up a lot of points. So even going back to that question, like, okay, do we keep writing these big, long, lengthy New Year's goals and resolutions, or do we try to kind of make some realistic, simplistic goals? I still, this year, I'm carrying over the one word. And so for me this year, my word is live. And I'm an acronyms girl, so I like to do an acronym for every word. So it's living intentionally, valuing every experience. So whether it is a good experience, challenging experience, not so good experience, I want to still value that and give myself grace and be kind to myself throughout that time. So like you say, with time management, that was an area of growth for me. I was supposed to finish a book last year. Actually, so I was going into 2 years at this current point, and I still didn't do it. But I do want to give myself grace and knowing that, hey, even though I didn't achieve that particular goal that I set for myself, I still have to value that experience that I had. Like there was still other things I was able to achieve throughout last year. So that's something I am looking forward to bringing into this next year. So I think I'm doing away with the big long resolutions.
I really like your approach to that because I feel, if we take into account what we do as a profession, what you are allowing yourself to do is recognizing that there's growth in the stuff that's easy and in the stuff that's hard.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we dwell on the things that didn't work so much that we don't dwell on the things that are work that it I don't know if those are the right words, but that it's not like benefiting us in some aspect. And maybe there's a way to say, hey, what is this trying to teach me? And how can I grow from this?
I like that. Did you have any moments or areas of some wins last year that you want to highlight?
Yeah, my business made a lot of growth last year,
Okay.
and I'm very proud of that. And
Congrats.
I took on my second intern
Okay.
from a local university. Also, very proud of that. I feel like am. I feel like I made some financial strides last year, and I have decided to set some financial goals this year. Because one of the areas that I don't think I gave myself enough room for was taking off for work.
Okay, that's big.
I don't feel like I took, I'm a person who needs a really good vacation.
Okay.
And when I talk about vacations, I'm a person who also likes to move and go and not sit still in those.
Okay.
I don't like rest. I want to come home tired so that I can kind of like get away from my day and
Okay.
come back. But in the process, what I also realized was that if I can't give myself that continuously, I need to be able to find joy in smaller things. So the word that I chose this year was
What you
joy.
have? Joy. I love joy.
And I really think that it's going to be about finding happiness in the smaller things in life. I really love to cook, making new recipes. I think by monthly, I would like to host a dinner party at my house with the new cookbook
Okay.
because I love to cook and I'd love to have all my friends come together and try new recipes with me. Joy.
Okay. Joy. And I'm thinking back to how we even just started this conversation. It's so easy to only focus on the things we feel like we were challenged in, but I heard you had a lot of great wins. Like you said, a lot of growth in your business. And even though time management was a challenge, we still excelled in time management because we were able to get things done. Your business wasn't able to flourish if you didn't have time management to, put into
I
it.
think what I'm also learning in this process is that to find joy, I need to be able to find joy outside of the work that I do.
Yes.
And I love the work that I do, but if my success is only valued by how well I have done in my job, then I don't feel that I have succeeded in living a completely happy life.
That's big. Wait a minute. I got to sit with that one. Finding joy outside of the work you do.
And
see.
let's touch on that for a second because
yeah.
I wonder if you can relate to this. So, because we are in such a helping profession, I think a large part of what I do and work towards is helping people.
Yeah.
So, it's a give and take because I also know that helping people is what gives me joy. But I recognize that sometimes I'm a dead battery.
Yeah.
And if I don't recharge the battery, then I won't find joy in helping people because the battery's dead.
That is really big. And even thinking about like finding joy outside of work and then finding joy outside of honestly goals. Finding joy outside of all the resolutions or the things that we have to get done is important so that we can have the energy to put towards those things and get them accomplished. And so for me, joy this year is going to look like traveling. I love to travel. I just actually came back from a vacation. And that's when I'm able to just fully just breathe. I don't have to consider work. I don't have to consider this deadline, this goal that I have to do. And so just again, I think I'm releasing myself from those New Year's resolutions.
I'm here for wanting to travel more this year.
Okay.
But when I think about travel, I also think about it as a bigger joy.
Okay.
And I'm also trying to understand that there are smaller ones available that
skill
can
in the
be
joy.
available more often, whereas
Okay.
maybe traveling isn't available as often as I would like it to be, right? So as funny as this may be, I just bought new pajamas.
Okay.
And I
Love
know
it.
that this is going to sound crazy, but I
What'd you
bought a
say?
pair of $100 pajamas.
What do they feel silky?
They're the best things I've ever put on my body.
Oh man.
And for that very reason,
Yes.
I knew that if I got those new pajamas, I was going to be excited to want to wash my face at night, to want to get in these pajamas and want to sit on my couch and relax because I was going to feel good in them. And I almost feel like the pajamas are a
Yeah.
great starting point to a place where we can find smaller things every day that bring us joy. And I'm not suggesting people spend $100 on
Yeah.
pajamas, but hey, it worked for me.
Find something to bring you joy. Last night I baked some cookies, so that brought me some joy in that moment, and I watched a good little Netflix
Ooh.
series, and I was good to go.
What you been watching lately on Netflix?
I was watching Bernie Mac, so I went back to travel back in time and watch a lot of older shows that I watched when I was younger and didn't really quite understand. So now I have more value,
Yeah.
and I can experience them different. Well, they have more value, and I can experience them different. So yeah, so I am this year. I'm looking forward to kind of acknowledging my areas of growth, but also celebrating the wins that I did have and being kinder to myself.
Yeah.
And I think in doing a way to do that for me would be setting smaller goals. Oftentimes I've gotten kind of trapped in this whole, I have this big goal, so I have to get it done. I'm going to sit down and get it all done here, and not really allocating the allocating the needed time to get it done. Or just overestimating how long it's really going to take me. Procrastination is often a challenge for me when it comes to these big New Year's goals and resolutions. It's almost like it's more of a hindrance than an actual help. And so something else I started to do is I have like certain goals for the day, or just certain tasks I have to get done, which I know can be done within the allotted time I have. Okay, yes, I'm going to regularly check my email. If I have a few emails to respond to, I'm going to take time. Okay, between 1 to 1:30, I'm going to review my emails. And that's more realistic versus me saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead and finish this whole book on Friday.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
wouldn't
that.
work.
Considering that you have those small goals in place, what does that look like for you with book writing?
Good question. So something I did last year, it was working until it didn't work anymore. Just because I started, what do I call it? Task piling. Like I just pile tasks on top of tasks, and like I can't get any of this done. So for the
That's
book,
what I did last year too. That is part of the reason that I felt my my brain was jumping between a multitude of platforms. You know, I saw somebody, not to cut you off, we can
go
go back to
ahead.
what you were saying, but I saw somebody talking on Instagram about something called like a power hour
okay,
or a power chunk, where you basically are doing work within this power hour. And what she does on the sidelines of her power hour is she keeps a notebook. And so she goes into this power hour with a certain task in mind, or maybe it's your 30-minute email block, right? And if something in your head pops up that you need to do outside of emails, she writes it down. So at the end of her chunk, she goes back to this notebook and she then takes the information and says, okay, let me delegate it out.
yes,
Because oftentimes my brain is doing that, but I'm allowing my brain to jump between 25 tasks. There's no way I can deal with my business finances while also making sure that Susie Q's dad is answered to when I work with children, while also making sure that my schedule has all the deleted people who canceled, while also making sure that I didn't wash the same load of laundry 9 times, because that happened last week.
yes. Look, I totally agree that I used to do something like that. I have a list. I have a to-do list, notebook, and I have used my phone. So anytime my mind kind of comes up with, oh, don't forget to call about your car warranty, call about your key fob, I write it down. And then I revisit that list at the end of the night or early in the morning when I wake up and kind of see what can I pull out that list that's realistic for me to do today. And as far as the book writing, what I would do is I would set a allotted amount of time. So I start with the smallest increment first, 30 minutes. I know I can kind of sit still for 30 minutes. Honestly, once I kind of start a task and I get into it, I'm able to sit there longer. But if I tell myself, okay, hey, Brittany, you have to sit for 2 hours to finish this, I'm going to find all the reasons to start cleaning up and mopping and dusting, doing the things I really don't want to do anyway, to just avoid this big task. And one other thing that I love that works for me is I call it ADHD hour. So almost like that power hour. So before I do anything, I just have my ADHD moment of just doing multiple tasks at a time to see how much I can get done. And I was like, okay, Brittany, after this hour, you have to sit still and focus on this one particular thing. That's been working. But I would like to see more strategic focus this year.
I don't disagree with the way that you described that beginning piece. Sometimes I think that beginning piece is the small stuff that only takes a little bit of time. And it is the motivation to do the longer things because we've done little 5-minute things. We have the umph to do more, right? It's interesting how you bring up how you're kind of like, you write in chunks like that. Whereas, like, I don't know if you recall that I attempted to get a children's book published.
Yes.
And my writing for me, in the hopes that I may try to write another children's book this year and see if I get some traction, is I am like a car writer, a midnight writer, or like a shower person.
Yeah.
So I don't have, I almost have to follow my lead that if it comes in the car, if it comes in the shower, if it comes at midnight, I have to go write it.
Yes.
I have to go type it out because it's going to leave and be left. And I'll tend to circulate that way, which it doesn't make yours wrong, doesn't make mine right. It's just a different version of
what works. And I think that's important, knowing that, you know, we see videos on TikTok or Instagram or just different social media videos of, hey, try this. This is going to work for you. Everything doesn't work for everyone. And that's okay. So I think the big part of what we want our audience to know is finding a system that works for them, right? Finding that joy in enduring, getting those tasks accomplished.
And at the beginning of the year, when I had revisited if consistency had worked for me last year, I started searching for people's goals and how people set up their years.
Okay.
And I think that what I finally realized was that that wasn't working for me because I became so overburdened by so many different options and ideas.
Yeah.
And then even worse was reading the comments, because what happens in a lot of comments with a lot of these influencers, and look, I'm sure they're all great people, but each one of them have very positive comments from their readers. Oh, this is a great idea. Oh, this is a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, how do you get 25 great ideas and take one? That's an overabundance of material that doesn't need to happen for you to deduce what is best for you and what will work in your life.
So the whole goal is to work smart and play hard.
Right.
And so how, I guess, going into, as we're kind of ending this month, going into the new month, thus far, how do you feel like you work smarter and not harder?
I think that I have done a better job of recognizing that I am not a nighttime person.
Okay.
So despite the fact that I'm a night owl, I am not a nighttime person.
Yeah.
So I would say I still wake up at a decent hour every morning, and I'm the kind of person who needs to put my laundry in at night, take it out in the morning because that takes longer. Whereas morning me will put it in and be like, nighttime you is going to take that laundry out and hang it up, girl. And nighttime me is like, who were you? Who were you?
Yes.
And what I am learning about myself is that I am getting more personal things accomplished earlier in the morning. And for me, it's worked better.
I love that. I think that's an important key of working smarter and playing harder, is knowing what works for you, knowing yourself, right? I try to be a night owl. That's not me. When I get off work, sometimes at 8:30, I'm just thinking about the bed. Sometimes I even skip dinner because I'm just like, I'll just start over in the morning. I can wake up earlier with a fresher mind and get some tasks completed after I do my hour of ADHD moving around there and can get that done. Something that's worked for me this month has been delegating tasks. And that's something I want to keep kind of building on, even though it's hard, because I don't always trust that the task will get done in the way that I will do it, even though my way is not the best way or it's not perfect or anything. So delegating tasks this month has really brought a lot of relief and allowed me to find joy in traveling, where this period when I went out of town, I didn't have the stress, or I wasn't trying to work still and enjoy the moments, I was really able to kind of kick back. Okay, I've already delegated that task, so I have to trust that person's going to get it done. And hey, I can check on it once I get back into the office.
And if you think about it, it's true because we live in a profession where creating boundaries is the hardest part of our job. And the boundaries in our job come from being able to shut the door and leave the stories we've heard for the day behind the door.
Yes.
And we all know that is large people who carry a lot of empathy for others. That is hard,
Yeah.
right? And then on top of that, you're doing all the physical office tasks of running a business, plus the tasks of keeping up with the note taking, the paperwork of clients, and I think that all adds up. And being able to separate from that, I'm proud of you for being able to take that opportunity to travel and be able to let go.
Yeah. Thank you. So I look forward to doing more of that, especially in this quarter. So I'm just going to take my word and live moment by moment. And another big thing is kind of just embracing, I think I mentioned earlier, kind of being kind to myself. Hey, it's okay if I didn't get this particular task done today. It's okay if we didn't get to the laundry. It's okay if I didn't make it to the grocery store. And being kind to know that, hey, there's always tomorrow. Just giving myself grace along this journey. I think as I continue to grow wiser and seasoned here, more things come up. I'm like, oh, this adult stuff is different. more things are thrown at you. More, I thought this would work this way. It's not working this way. And so learning to kind of navigate that. But I want to be able to kind of live intentionally while valuing those experiences. That was my biggest takeaway from last year and then coming into this year. So I hadn't wrote this big list of resolutions or goals. One thing I did do, my mom and I did a prayer board with different little areas of prayer. I did that. I did see someone do a bingo card.
I saw
did you
that
see
too.
that?
And I liked the bingo card, but I have gotten to a place in life where the to-do lists and the bingo cards and the steps to get things done have just become so overwhelming. And I don't, like you were talking about how you have a to-do list and you get up in the morning, you analyze what you can take off of it. And while I hear you on that and I hear that may work for you, I'm not sure it could for me.
Yeah.
Because if I kept seeing a list that got bigger and never went away, it would overwhelm me.
Yes.
And I'm just at a place where I want to work smarter so that I don't have all these things around me piling up in task mode. And I don't have...
And I think you and I maybe talked about it earlier of like creating those systems. I know you have a lot of systems that you've put in place at home that really work for you. And I think it's so important that we find what system works for us. I love the envelope. I have a little receipt, little pamphlet. Now, I'm not going to lie, I may have to take the envelope with the quarter by quarter because I was doing the envelopes with month by month. And sometimes I just shove them in there and I never go back and organize them there. So I may need to find a better
I just
system.
drop mine off every quarter at the CPA office. And I give them quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4.
Okay.
Because I'm putting in the money for the CPA, and I know that I can trust that they will do that job.
Yes.
And that is part of the reason that I pay what I pay to have the CPA that I have is because I know I can trust my CPA to do his job.
Yeah.
And the team of people there that are helping on the back end. And I think that's the other piece, like you were saying, delegating is a hard part. And like you're right, like it's also releasing some control, right? And having to trust the people that you release the control with. And I like that you have such an opportunity to delegate, but you have so many people under you at work. Whereas I, don't have a lot of people under me at work to delegate with, and that's okay.
Yes. And look, speaking of that, I did want to also share a few wins that sometimes you don't even really get to see the wins because the areas of growth kind of overshadow them. Opening up a second office, that was a big win for me last year. I hired on, I think, yeah, 2 new employees last year. I hired an office admin, and that has really helped my business grow as well. And getting some more organization with having the office admin. So I'm super proud of myself for that. So yeah.
What are you proud of outside of work?
Outside of work. See, that's circling back to what you were saying earlier about finding joy outside of work so we don't attach our successes to work only. Wait a minute, I have to think.
I know I can answer that one.
Okay, you go first. Let me think.
So I have seen a personal trainer for the past
Okay.
almost 2 years. April will make 2 years. And there was a period of time at the beginning of seeing my personal trainer that I was getting sick a lot. And I ended up finding out that some of my health issues were playing a large role in that, and my growth wasn't occurring like I wanted it to. And what I've noticed through seeing my personal trainer is just my ability to push myself, my ability to see that I can make growth, my ability to feel strong on the inside, has greatly impacted the positive character traits that I see in myself from that experience. The ability to not give up, and just to recognize that I'm driven in other ways outside of work and can be defined by other things outside of work. I've tried some new things, some I've not done so well on, but I also do find joy in trying new things. I signed up to play pickleball.
Okay, I heard that was fun.
That was a flop. I really tried, and they said they were a beginner's crew, but that was not a beginner's crew. Look, I mean,
they were out there knocking them out.
The last time I showed up at practice, I accidentally hit a man in the head with my paddle, and that was how the story ended. But I am always open to trying new things, and I feel like I didn't do enough of that last year.
Okay. I like that. Trying new things.
Gotta get outside of the work bubble. And owning a business will put you right in there for a long time if you let it.
And when you asked me that question, I'm glad you went first, because I just had to sit here and kind of let it simmer a bit. And I'm like, oh, shoot, she's going to have to come back to me and I have to answer that. And I was sitting, I'm like, I still not sure. The only thing that I could kind of drum up was I rest. I did well at resting. Releasing some things that were kind of taking me out of that space of really getting true rest. So I was able to release some things and rest. I did enjoy, I did a lot of traveling last year. So that was something outside of my business. But now that you said that, you put something on my mind, and I want to be more intentional about finding that joy outside of work and being able to separate what I'm successful in. Not just looking at, okay, well, I'm successful in running a business. I did this. Finding some other ways to be successful outside of what I do in my profession. So thank you for bringing that to my forefront here. Because all I have is rest.
Sometimes we have to accept that our body needs those things.
Yeah.
And also potentially use that as a learning curve.
Yeah.
Why are we needing the rest? What is it that we've been doing that has been contributing to our physical exhaustion? Or what it sounds like from both of our ends, mental, right? How do we get to a place where we're working smarter so we're not constantly trying to we're not in a place where we're always feeling we need rest.
Yes, that's big. I know what kept me kind of tied was I was working harder and not smarter at all. So this year I am shifting that, and I think this is a great segue to do so. So for you, what's one thing you're going to do to work smarter and play harder?
I am going to lean into trying to be a morning person.
Okay.
I know I said earlier I get better things done in the morning, but because of the way that I work and the fact that I go into work later in the afternoon, I would like to be somebody who gets up at 5 or 6 in the morning and
Okay.
has more quiet time with the uninterrupted part
Yeah.
of the day and the world where I'm able to focus more intentionally on things.
Okay. I like that. I am going to be more intentional about finding those successful moments outside of work. One thing I've been wanting to get back into is walking. Walking brings me a lot of joy. It doesn't take that much time, depending on how long I walk. Once I get into it, like I said, I'm there. But walking really refreshes me and revives me and gets me ready for the day. And during that time, I'm not thinking about work. I'm just thinking about probably traveling or just, and honestly, just enjoying nature. So I want to put myself back in that place of just being intentional about pouring into me.
Yeah.
And that way, I can work smarter and not harder. That's what I'm going to do. So, we have definitely enjoyed sharing this moment with you all. Thanks for coming into our world. And so, we definitely want to challenge you all as well. What is one way you can work smarter and play harder this month?
We want to hear from you all. Please comment, like, and share.